A new report indicates that the FCC plans on voting to dismantle net neutrality very soon. And even though there's a lot going on in the news right now, it's incredibly important for everyone to pay close attention to this and to fight to prevent this from happening. We need to preserve net neutrality. Now, the head of the Federal Communications Commission, Ajit Pai, is set to unveil plans next week for a final vote to reverse a landmark 2015 net neutrality order, which barred the blocking or slowing of web content. Now, for those of you who are unaware of what net neutrality is, maybe you haven't been following along with the story, just a quick summary. Net neutrality is essentially regulation that ensures that internet service providers cannot slow down the speeds of certain websites. Now, when you consider the fact that some of these major internet service providers have merged with a bunch of other companies and they own media companies, well, it becomes problematic because they are allowed to slow down the websites of their competitors if we dismantle net neutrality. So a free and open internet will no longer exist, and we need to fight to preserve what we currently have. In May, the FCC voted 2-1 to advance Republican FCC Chairman Ajit Pai's plan to withdraw the former Obama administration's order reclassifying internet service providers as if they were utilities. Pai now plans to hold a final vote on the proposal at the FCC's December 14th meeting. So less than a month from now, that guy will dismantle the regulations that allow for a free and open internet.
Now, he looks like a good guy in that picture, but that's a very bad man.
I specifically show everyone that picture because he's a gigantic douchebag. And that is the mug that he uses to try to make himself seem like a fun-loving, no, you're a dick, okay? And what he's trying to do right now, by the way, Verizon, which is one of these major internet service providers, is the company that he used to work out as a lawyer, right? So we talk about the revolving door of politics. This is kind of an example of that.
Yeah.
This is a perfect example of that. He's trying to help out his buddies at his former job, and who knows what other, perks he's gonna get from a company like Verizon or another internet service provider when he's no longer the FCC chairman.
I mean, when you look at it, it's just a matter of making more money, right? Because they can charge more for these faster internet speeds.
Yes.
So people who can't pay more get the slow.
Yeah,
service.
so nonprofits or small mom and pop type. I mean, we say, well, how many mom and pop places are there? Well, there are lots.
Yes.
I mean, the net is filled with them, and the net neutrality, which is just that, a neutral net. Nobody's biased in anybody's favor or against anyone. So everything comes in at the same speed. That neutral net is going to go away. And Anna's right to point to the associations of Ajit Pai, but the last guy also had associations. Wheeler was also mobbed up with Comcast. So these guys, the fact that they're mobbed up, oftentimes that's just what we end up with. We end up with Goldman Sachs guys running Treasury and all of that sort of thing. But in this case, Ajit Pai was, from the outset, he stated, we're going to change this. Net neutrality is going away. That was one of the cornerstones of his new commission. And I think he's really going to follow through on it. I mean, this is going to be revolutionary. And it will, and as Lauren says, if you can't pay, you ain't getting in. People won't be able to download you as quickly as they will those sites that can pay.
And let me guess, their argument is capitalism.
Exactly, free market.
But it's the exact, this is crony capitalism, right? I mean, capitalism is supposed to support competition. And in this case, you're doing away with the one regulation that preserves competition. So independent media, gone. Unless you're gonna, partner up with a major company that can pay the price for faster internet speeds, gone. Right? And that is a very scary society to live in. And just to give you even further context, it's very clear what their intentions are. Because if you look at other cases that the FCC is voting on, they're totally fine with certain types of mergers, for instance, certain types of media acquisitions that would lead to more propaganda, in my opinion, less diversity of opinion in media. Let me give you an example. So on Thursday, the FCC That's actually today. So today, the FCC will vote on Pi's proposal to eliminate the 42-year-old ban on cross-ownership of a newspaper and TV station in a major market. The proposal would make it easier for media companies to buy additional TV stations in the same market. Pi is also expected to call for an initial vote in December to rescind rules that say one company may not own stations serving more than 39% of US television households. And that's according to two people who have been briefed on this matter.
And that goes exactly to what you're talking about, Anna, which is a plurality of information. So by preventing a company from owning a television station and a newspaper, you're forcing, in a sense, different information to come out, right? So now I own the television station, but I don't own the newspaper, so the newspaper can say whatever they want. If I own both, then I'll make sure they say everything that I want on both those outlets. And that's what's happening in market after market. And so now, even the meager restrictions, and they're pretty lame restrictions to begin with, restricting ownership nationwide, they're going away. So you're gonna end up with Sinclair Broadcasting and all of these different companies that have an agenda owning tremendous amounts of broadcast. And that's where so much information comes to so many voters. So think of it this way, Fox News Channel extends its reach because they're huge, generally right-leaning, some of them are extreme right in the case of Sinclair, companies that will now own all of these methods of disseminating information.
Right, and by the way, to be absolutely clear, if we're talking about liberals having the advantage.
Wouldn't be for that either.
I don't care. I don't want people to be exposed to one side. Like, we're clear about what our perspective is on this show and on this network, but I don't want us to be your only source of information. I wouldn't want to dominate the market to the point where we have a monopoly, right? And so we're now, unfortunately, asleep at the wheel while this is going on, and we need to protect a free and open internet. All voices should be heard equally. I don't care if you're a conservative or a liberal. I don't care what your thoughts or feelings are. It's just important to be able to have a voice and not let major corporations decide whether or not that voice should be heard.
So what do? We like troll Pi, or
I think it is a call. I think it's a call Washington type situation.
Absolutely, and more importantly, look, This particular issue has received 22 million comments, right? Because issues like this are open for public comment, and an organization like the FCC is supposed to take those comments into consideration. But look, if you have to take to the streets and do civil disobedience, whatever it is, however you feel like you need to mobilize people and make your voices heard, please do it, because this can't stand. December 14th is, again, less than a month from now.
Yeah.
And I'm worried that we're all going to be so, I don't want to say distracted, because there's a lot of important things going on right now. There's like a big news story every hour, but I'm worried that we're going to be preoccupied with all these other things, and then this is going to slip through the cracks.
Thank you, because I think that's the key point. There's so much stuff going on, and it's a smokescreen for this getting by, and it's this net neutrality is going to be with us. Whenever they're trying to
slip things in during the holidays,
I know.
You usually want to pay extra careful attention.
Crazy.
By the way, just on the what should be done, there's a list of things that can be done. Go on the Right Now neutral net and see all the places you can really join the activism around this issue. It's big. Net neutrality could change the face of the internet forever in this country.
Help us build independent media together. Come join us, tytnetwork.com/join.